Shinto, a spiritual belief system that originated from Japan, believing that all living things in the natural world carry a supernatural entity known as kami, meaning deities or spirits. These kami are said to also be present in lifeless objects and the honorable deceased. In Japanese folklore, a great example of this is a phenomenon called tsukumogami, when ordinary tools, items, and objects reach an advanced age of roughly 100 years. They will gain a kami or soul. These items were often misused and abandoned after many years of their thankless service. They now gain sentience and mobility, seeking revenge for their mistreatment. But it's not as bad as you think. Which brings me to the subject of today's video, the Karakasa Kozo. So join me on my creative process and to know more about these spooky umbrella spirits. This is Jackalope High presents the Yokai series. Hey friend, it's Jackie here. Check out these vintage cocktail parasols. Just the thing I need for this particular project. Let's get rid of this and see what we got. So I have about 5 different colors here, so I'm thinking about creating 5 different variants. The nice part is that the colors have slightly faded, giving it that aged look I'm going for. Now since these are meant to be disposable decorations, the thin tissue is very delicate, so adding a coat of Mod Podge will help stabilize them. I'm doing roughly a 2-part Mod Podge to a 1-part water mixture, just to thin it out. Gently brushing on an even coating and shaking off any excess. When this dries, it'll be very stiff and will retain its shape. I'm spraying them open in different sizes to get some variation. Karakasa Kozo, also known as Karakasa Obake or Kasa Obake, are very peculiar and quite silly in terms of a yokai. The name translates to Paper Umbrella Priest Boy, or simply Umbrella Ghosts. Common depictions of them include a singular eye, a long whimsical tongue, and is seen hopping about on one leg. Some depictions would show the Kasa Obake to have 2 legs, but this is rare. Other times they are shown to have 2 arms as well. Back to the build, I can now set these aside. I can continue working on them when they are fully dry. After giving it a few hours, it's now more pliable, making it much easier to handle. With a fresh blade, I can make incisions and cut out the openings where I want the eye and mouth to be, as well as adding some rips and tears throughout for a distressed look. I'll finish the rest of the parasols off camera. Now I can begin the sculpting. I had completely forgotten I got some glow-in-the-dark cosplay many moons ago. I want to make the eyes for the Kasa Obake's glow, and this would be a great alternative to using glow paints. The glow on this clay are amazing, and I recommend them to anyone that's interested in trying it for yourself. Once you knead it into a workable clay, it is much softer to work with compared to medium, firm, or extra firm clays that I've used in the past. So I probably wouldn't recommend using this clay for complex detail work. Since I'm just making simple little eyeballs, this will do just fine. Busting out my bag of scraps again, I plan on using any leftover small bits of wire I have collected, which I will use to make all the arms and legs. Then it's just bending them to simple shapes and poses. Applying clay using regular cosplay medium. Kasa Obakes are not as terrifying as one may think. They are big pranksters, appearing as ordinary umbrellas by day. When night falls and an unsuspecting person picks them up, they would spring to life, licking their victim with their long slimy tongue in a surprise attack. No harm is done to the person, at least physically. They are just being playful and love giving humans a good scare. They are a unique type of yokai, appearing only in fictional stories and art made about them. They were not born out of any eyewitness accounts or stuff of myth and folklore. They are a character created by individuals, born out of a time during the Edo period when telling ghost stories was a popular pastime, making them a beloved and iconic yokai that can be seen in many types of media that continues to this day. And here's a batch of tongues I finished making, along with the arms and legs in various sizes. Now let's get to painting. The tongues will get a simple pink color, but I'm going for a grayish blue for the skin color of the limbs. I feel it's a more effective color to appear more ghoulish and ghost-like. While kasa obakes themselves aren't known to be malevolent in nature, there are accounts of other kinds of tsukumogami umbrellas that are dangerous and can bring harm and misfortune to humans. One example is called Hone Karakasa, meaning skeletal umbrella. They are depicted to be an umbrella that loses its paper coverings, retaining mostly its wooden spokes, ribs, and handle, resembling a skeleton. They will float about on wet, windy days. When their presence is known, it's an omen that bad weather is sure to come. Another example is stories about ominous encounters with ghost umbrellas. On rainy nights, an umbrella will appear, floating in, and that those who see it will appear petrified, being frozen with fear. Other times, a ghost umbrella that looks like a kasa obake would appear. If you're not careful, it can latch onto you, and when big gusts of wind is prevalent, you will be whisked away, floating high into the sky, only to never be seen or heard from ever again. In my opinion, these are just examples of fun, scary stories told to kids and people using the concept of kasa obakes. Back to the build. For a final detail, I'm making simple bases from leftover scrap wood. With a tiny dab of super glue, I can adhere the nail to act as a leg stand. Then I can reinforce it with some epoxy sculpt. Last thing to do is to give it a coat of black paint. And the main attraction, the kasa obakes themselves, with some assembly required. I will finish gluing them all together off camera so we can just get on to the final look. Hope you enjoyed hearing and seeing my simple take on the Karakasa Kozo. If you enjoyed this, check out my playlist of other yokais I've made thus far, and consider subscribing to follow along on more art videos like this to come. Otherwise, take care, stay creative, and I will see you in the next one.